In this video, we're going to learn about domain and range. Now, what are they? Well, the domain is the list of all input values. So if we're talking about f of x, that's going to be all of the possible x values. Whereas the range is all of the output values. So again, if we're talking about f of x, that's going to be all of the f of x or y values, depending on how you look at it. Now, one way we can represent functions is something like this, where we have a set of input arrowed over to our set of outputs. When we have a set of numbers, we're going to list them out for domain and range. So in this case, our input numbers are 3, 5, 7, and 8. So that is our domain. And because it's a list rather than an interval, we put squiggle brackets around the list. Then our range will also use squiggle brackets, and we're going to take those things that are the outputs. So you put in 3, you got out -2. You put in 5, you got out 4, so on and so forth. So our range is the list of the numbers in that second box, -2, 4, 5, and 6. Now, on the other hand, let's say I give you a graph that looks like this. You can include all of the values on that graph. And because the endpoints are closed circles, that actually includes the endpoints as well. So what's our domain? Well, we look at the smallest or leftmost point to find the smallest x value, and then we go to the rightmost point to find the biggest x value, and that's going to give us our domain. So our domain in this case goes from -4 to 5. And because both of those are closed circles, we're going to include the endpoints and put brackets around it. Similarly, range is going to be the y values. So the smallest number is the lowest one, and we're going to go up to the highest one. So our lowest y value is 0, and our highest y value is 3. So we can say our range is 0 to 3, again with brackets because the endpoints are included. Let's take a look at another example. This one is a quadratic or a parabola. So when we're looking at domain, notice that we have arrows to the left and an arrow to the right. So that means that we can actually continue forever in both directions. That means our domain is from -infinity to infinity. Note that whenever infinity is part of your domain or range, you will use a parenthesis instead of a bracket, because infinity is a concept, not exactly a real number. We go on forever. Now, the range, on the other hand, in this case, the lowest point is actually included. You can see -4 is a real point on the parabola. So we do include that. But then our arrows both go up forever. So our range is bracket with the -4, and then we have comma to infinity forever with the parenthesis. Let's take a look at one more example. This one is actually a square root function. So if you don't recognize the shape, don't worry, we'll get to it. As you can see here, we have an open circle now. This means that the endpoint is not included. So when I'm looking at the domain, I can see that I'm starting at 1, but it's not included at 1. And then I'm going forever to the right up to infinity. So I'm going to have parenthesis on the 1, comma infinity. And again, infinity will always have a parenthesis. Now, when I'm looking at my range, my lowest value is a 2, but once again, it is not included because it's an open circle, and I can see my arrow goes up forever, so I'm also going to go up to infinity in that case. So my range is 2 to infinity with parentheses on both ends. And that is how we work with domain and range.